I hope that, council will be willing to look at this in the context. I understand the pitch here. I understand what the sign lobby is saying here when they say we're on the side of the angels here. The land at 401 and Leslie on which they want to place a sign is land owned by Metrolinx. It's on Go Station property, and they have a lot to do. Heaven knows. And so if they can find an ongoing source of revenue, they want one. This property, however, sets all sorts of precedents that's probably why the province gave the exception. But for us, it's a precedent on the 401 that we really don't want to entertain. We really don't want to entertain this. There are only 2 of these inside the city limits along the 401. There are only 2 of these, and they're well outside that core busy corridor that runs from Yorkdale to the 404, because there's a lot going on in that section. I'll tell you, last night I left here, I had to go straight up and then drive out to Whitby. That highway is nuts at night. Never mind the street racers. That's where all the logistics in this country barrels on through to get stuff to us in Toronto. So it's kind of a hairy place. And that's probably a lot to do with why up until now, the Ministry of Transportation has had a policy to clean up and not pollute that area. You don't want a lot of distractions where there is the busiest nexus of the 404, the Don Valley Parkway, the 401, and 3 approaches, not 1, not 2, but 3 different approaches that get you in different ways into express lanes. It's constantly under construction because it takes such wear and tear. And we've done a pretty good job of making sure that buildings aren't wrapped, that signs aren't everywhere. Leslie Street is just beyond it. And it is surrounded by residential. If this was going on the south side, which is albeit not Metrolinx property, so it wouldn't be their revenue picture, there wouldn't be the problem, because you could get 400 meters away, which would meet the policy, inside an employment zone far away from residential. But where this sign is now is directly adjacent to our property, to create TO property. And this is a particularly exciting Housing Now site because it has the potential to hold a lot of units. So we could have a great partnership here with a private developer to develop affordable housing, seniors housing, as much as 1,800 units on one site, and replace a city-run seniors home that is badly in need of repair, if not rebuild. And so the plan is possibly to add to the proposal, rebuilding it on this site. I don't know who's interrupting me, but I hope my clock gets stopped while it's happening.
I don't know who that is. Does somebody, members of council, do they have their mic on? You muted? Okay.
Thank you. Thanks very much. So the beauty of, that's a crowded site, but the beauty of this one is it is shouldered on one side by a giant IKEA. So, you know, it's not going to be a frustration to residents on that side if you want to build the development there. And the North York General Hospital on the other side. So you can imagine there are many, many healthcare workers that fit into the affordable housing description. The thought of them being able to walk across the street to their homes makes this a very exciting site. But just beyond them are residents who have never had this kind of sign pollution in this district, and they are very upset. I got 100 emails and thought, oh, people are upset about this. Then I wrote an e-blast and had 300 more. People really want to leave this stretch of the 401 without the giant digital signs. And Councillor Prutz's applications are on the edge of that boundary. Mine are right in the heart. Next time you see one of these signs is well beyond the 404, when you're really getting out towards vast employment lands. So I'm asking people, I know you've all been approached. The sign lobby is one of the most effective in municipal government, but I would ask you to consider, why are we putting up so many of these visual pollutants when in fact the real money in advertising is in this tiny little device right here? This is where the big money is going. This is where our kids are picking out their basketball shoes, and where we're all looking at real estate ads when we're sitting in this room. This is where advertising is really going on. This is the future. So why are we gonna take a highway that doesn't have these kinds of signs on it and create a whole new Gardner Avenue of light pollution signs? Those are my comments, Madam Chair.